If anyone here is feeling that that word was for them, or if anyone's feeling that that is, they want to respond, look to the person around you and ask for some help, ask for some prayer, and at the same time, the rest of you can have a chat. Maybe ask a question, how far did you come to get to church today? Because we've got a family here come all the way from Los Angeles, and they're 15 hours different in time zone, so it was 30 hours to get to church. Ooh, well done. So have a bit of a chat, because what we're going to do is set the stage here for an interview, and probably be twinkling with the lights. So those of you who have light sensitive, just don't look at the front, look back. That's the first time you've ever been told to look back in church, isn't it? But I don't mean look back from Jesus, I mean look back into the auditorium. Okay, thank you. Shannon, how do you want this? Okay, that's yours. Okay, we'll also just ask the children to come in, because I want to introduce all the children as well, please. Where do you want to stay here? You'll sit here. Okay, you go there. No, sorry, other way around, because then you guys. So your main camera's going to be there. Okay, if you want to talk to your eyeball people. Okay. So that's the theory. Okay, so turn that on. Oh, we've got people praying still. God is working. Just out of interest, I do know a lot of our people here travel. So there'll be a few that went more than half an hour, including the Bullsbrook people. There's a few who come from Allenbrook. Cool, we've got one or two here. There is actually an audience. Okay. And of course, we have our Bowles family all the way from California. Okay, so just for the cameras and for everyone here, this is a sort of an interview to get to know the Bowles family. They've been here 3 days. Oh, look, Mr. T's asleep. We'll have to capture him and you'll... So, Thaddeus, I call him Mr. T. He's awesome. Thaddeus. Okay, so our interview is to welcome you guys. We'll spend a few minutes getting to know the kids, and then they can join Sunday school, and then we'll ask Chris and Alicia the other questions. Do you guys have any questions of these people? Oh, come on, there's your opportunity, because they're going to ask you questions. Come on, give them a hard one.
Do you have a question, baby?
Okay, so one of the things I found out from these guys is they don't do digital. So they don't work in centimetres and millimetres. And they can understand fractions, and I can't. So that's what I learned. And they don't do kilometres, they do miles. So they're still in the old-fashioned days where they're driving miles.
Some of us still work in that.
It's metric. Yeah, Liam's corrected me with terminology. But okay, just a question for you guys then. You've only been here a short time. What's the biggest differences that you can see between our home and what you've seen here in Perth?
Probably that the people are a lot nicer and also that the weather is different.
Oh, you're getting brownie points. We love you already. That's good, thank you. Anyone else want to share some differences?
No. No.
Okay. And is there anything you're expecting when you came here that you're looking forward to seeing or being part of?
No. Meeting friends? Maybe in shy this morning.
I know this one was expecting to find Bluey.
You want to find Bluey?
Because Bluey is from Australia. I think the other thing was kangaroos. They haven't seen a real kangaroo yet. So, yep. Yeah, so we'll take them through Whiteman's Park soon. Shannon so kindly did a welcome pack and it had all the Aussie things, so they haven't yet experienced Milo, even though it's in their package. They're too scared to taste it. Vegemite Chris has had and loves.
It was part of the visa process. They wouldn't let us in the country unless one of us liked it.
I think Benjamin was happy that we still have technology here, even though we don't have PlayStation online at our house. So we've got to improve that. But yeah, everything's pretty similar, yeah? And they even speak the same language. The first comment I got, though, you have an accent. And to you guys, you're going to get that, I'm sorry. But now you have the accent because you're here, so get used to it. Well, thank you for joining us and us getting to know you. Thank you.
All right.
Cool. Want to join the Sunday school? You're welcome. You can stay here if you want to. You're welcome. You can do whichever. Yes, you can stay here if you want to. You're welcome. Okay. I'll sit more this way, actually, because then I can... Oh, it's nice to just sit down and be a bit relaxed, isn't it? Instead of standing up and preaching. But you know me, I can't sit still, so I'll have to behave myself. So Chris and Alicia, between you, sort out who and how to answer, but I scribbled up some questions. Starting from the beginning, I suppose, in preparation of coming here, tell us a little bit about yourselves and your background in California.
Yeah, we were pastors in California. We had been senior pastors for about 7 years. Before that, we lived in a state called Phoenix, Arizona, in the desert, where we pastored. That's actually where I met Alicia. We pastored out there for about 15 years. And our life was really just revolved around kids and church. That's what we focused on is, spending time with our kids, spending time with our church. We love the people of God, and we loved, just getting a chance to be with our kids most of the time. That's really all our life was about. Nothing special about us. Nothing fancy. Just people who loved God and loved our children.
Who wants to know how they met? Is that a question? Yeah, there's interest. So how did you two meet?
So we met at a youth camp. He was a youth leader, and a youth pastor, and I was a youth leader, and we met through that.
We met at the cafeteria table.
Yeah, the cafeteria table. I guess he wants more specifics. Yeah. We met at a cafeteria table. I thought he was like 30 years old, and at the time I was 19. He had like a goatee, and his head was shaved completely bald. No offense, Dave.
It's the best haircut.
And I was just like, who is this weird guy following me around? But through different events of my church and his church coming together and doing things, a couple of events together, we were able to hang out and get to know each other, and we discovered that we actually liked each other.
She fell madly in love with me and was chasing after me at that point.
I love it. We met you about 2 years ago when you came out to spy out the land. And I think, how did God call you into this crazy mission thing with 5 children to come to Perth?
To be honest, I love you guys. Don't know you yet, but I love you guys. I never wanted to leave the United States. I never had a desire. In fact, a lot of our talks, early on in marriage is, my wife had this heart to go overseas, to go do something a part of missions and get out of the United States. And I told her, well, that's good. You can do that. I'll be here pastoring in the United States, and I'll send you overseas, and you can come back, and you get to, share testimonies, and you could lead teams. Tell us all about it. I'll be here. And so never thought it was going to be something that God called us out of the United States. And we were sitting in a service much like this down at our eventually became our home church, and we were just sitting in a conference receiving the word of the Lord. Just thought it was going to be something that we got filled up and took back to our home church. And the pastor there started talking about Australia. And there was a need for pastors and leaders, and it was a great field for seeing God move. And right in that middle of that point, I've never been pregnant, obviously. Just want to point that out. I never have. But I felt like the Holy Spirit was flipping on the inside of me. Almost like how my wife would describe the children would flip on the inside of her when she was with child. I felt like that. I felt the Holy Spirit was saying, hey, pay attention, dummy. Pay attention. This is for you. You're the hard-headed one. I need to get a hold of you. And so afterwards, we got out of service, and we're driving to lunch, and I looked at my wife and said, did you get anything out of that service? And what did you say in that moment?
I said, I don't want to tell you, because every time I had brought it up, he'd always just lovingly shot it down. But so I was like, I don't want to tell you. I had assumed that it was just something that I was feeling because I had always had a heart for missions. So I was like, you go first. And so in my mind, I was thinking, if we come back with the same thing, I'll tell him. If not, I'll just be like, never mind.
No, we started from that process, told her, hey, I think God's calling us to sell everything we have and move to the other side of the world. And, hey, we're here.
A bit over 2 years, and we're thankful, aren't we? It's great. So thinking, how did your family and church and friendship connections feel when you told them you're coming over here?
I think some of them still didn't believe it was ever going to happen, because it was a 2-year process. And when we told people 2 years ago, we're leaving, we're going to Australia, after like a year passed, people saying, are you sure you're going? You're still here. But at least from the people who were closest to us, we had their support. Obviously close friends and family miss us, but with technology now, a quick phone call, a quick FaceTime, a quick video chat, we're still connected to them. In fact, yesterday the kids got to see their grandma, got a chance to, show them the yard where we're at and show them everything, got a chance just to connect with them. But, we were sad to see them go, but we also wanted to be in the will of God. Nothing is better than being in what God has you in store for you. Because if you're out of the will of God, no matter how happy you try to make it, how perfect you try to make things, being outside of the will of God is what is going to be the most excitement and is going to bring the most fulfillment in your life. And so a lot of them obviously understood that and, have our backing and are praying for us back home. But, sad to see them go, but we're glad that we're here and we're pursuing what God has for us.
This question will probably be a little bit more targeted for Alicia because family and life. 5 children. Pack your bags and go to the other side of the world. What does day-to-day life look like for you with 5 children?
Say the word you said earlier.
Chaotic.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of prepping beforehand. So if I know I have to leave the house at 5 o'clock, I will start around noon to make sure bags are packed. Everybody has socks and shoes on. We have loads of snacks and diapers or nappies, as you guys call them. It's a constant running around.
And how did you prepare your children for such a journey as a missionary experience? And
I feel like we have been preparing them since the day they were born. We kind of try to incorporate them in our entire ministry life. So from the time they're born, they're at the church. They're either sitting in meetings or a lot of times they'll ask to help. So we'll, get them setting up chairs or setting up various things that we need, like cups for coffee and bringing in the donuts, things like that.
Hey, the pastor's kids.
Yeah, one of the things we've always tried to teach our kids is that it's not just mom and dad who serve Jesus. You guys are just a part of our family as well, and you're going to serve Jesus. And we just set that expectation from the very beginning is we are a family that serves Jesus. And so even in this process of moving across seas is like God isn't sending mom and dad to Australia. God is sending all of us to be a part of what God is doing in Australia, and you have just as much as a part of it. In fact, that they've talked about how they can't wait to share the gospel and be like, we can't wait to meet new people and share the gospel and tell people our age about Jesus. And so it's something that we've always tried to instill in them, is that we do ministry, we do life as a family, not just mom and dad, and you're along for the ride.
That's good. Is there anything you're hoping that your kids will experience or gain from their time here?
Honestly, true friendships, because our kids tend to thrive on socialization, which is funny because they're homeschooled, but they very much love any type of interaction that they can get from another person. So just lasting relationships.
That's good. That's good. Cool. I was just thinking to our journey of picking them up at the airport. So we rocked up there at 3:30, 4 o'clock. Perth Airport's not friendly for visitors. Have you experienced that? Sorry, Perth Airport, but you're not friendly for visitors. But anyway, they get off and they're doing the baggage thing, and you've got 5 children and 2 adults. You're allowed 2 bags each, plus your backpack, plus your guitars. Just do your maths. So luckily we took 2 cars and we took Shannon's car to put all the gear in. But it was the time delays and everything else. So for us, the airport experience was not what we were hoping to deliver to the Bowles family. I remember you go and you all stand around, you chair them in, and they missed out on all of that, and they just got, how quickly can we load your bags into the car so that we can get out of here, so that we don't have to pay another $20 at the airport for 15 minutes, or 6 minutes it was, Anyway, what was your first impression at the airport?
Honestly, I was so tired, I don't remember the airport. We did 30 hours of traveling. So we left at 11 p.m. Los Angeles time. It was 15 hours into Sydney, 5-hour layover in Sydney, and then Sydney to here was another 5 hours. So by the time we reached the end, and I don't think we got, an hour or 2 of sleep here and there. By the time we got here, I was so sleep deprived, I barely remember walking through the airport.
That's good. That's good.
It really was more just let's find our bags, let's find where we go, and please, children, don't run away. Don't run out a door, because they were just happy to be off the plane. They were just like, freedom, running out, and they're like, we can stand up. Especially Thaddeus, poor kid who's over in Eileen's arms right now, trying to tell a 1-year-old not to run and jump and scream and, move about. He was just happy to be off the plane, and, he was ready to run to Tasmania at this point, I think. So I think for us, we were just happy to be off the plane. I don't really remember much other than, where do we go? Let's find our baggage. I hope someone picks us up.
Yeah, and you've had only a few days, but have you had, in those few days, have there been any funny moments, any transitional things that you have a good old laugh about?
We were all laughing at the time, but I don't know if you'll find it as funny. Charlotte found, I don't know what kind of a bug it was. It's like long and black and has like a billion legs. She was digging through the dirt and she accidentally picked one up and she started crying hysterically and running inside. And we were all laughing hysterically, but I don't know if that would translate.
It was laughing hysterically till that same bug found its way into our bedroom and on Alicia's pillow. And I heard a scream be like, Chris, get it out.
So they came to me and said, what is this bug? I said, I don't know, it's just crunchy.
Well, the thing is America is, all you hear is Australia, and everything inside Australia is trying to kill you. And so we're like, well, if that's true, is this one of the things trying to kill us? Because I don't want to be picking up with my bare hands. Oh yeah, that thing is really deadly to, to males. Don't pick that up if you're a male.
So for those who, it's here in Western Australia when it rains and you've got mulch in your garden, those things seem to pop up left, right and centre. If you leave your lights on at night, I don't know how many of you experience that, but you wake up in the morning with 1,000 of them on the floor, and as you walk out and you don't turn the lights on, you get the crunch, crunch, crunch as you walk down the hallway. Millipedes, but they don't hurt anyone other than they're a bit not so pleasant to walk on. Are there some things here that you're excited to explore in Western Australia?
I think we're excited just to know more about Perth. I think as a family, that's one of the things we always love doing is anytime we travel somewhere new, we just like driving through and seeing the landscape, the people, and just being able to explore. We have been blessed to kind of just spend the last couple days just recuperating, just recharging our battery, trying to adjust to a new time zone. But we can't wait to actually just go out and we told our kids so much about Kings Park. That's the one thing. We got to go to Kings Park, Dad. When are you going to take us to Kings Park? So I think in the next week or two, we're going to take them out and just spend an afternoon and let them just, be kids and run around. But we just can't wait to explore and just go and visit all the different communities and places here in Perth.
That's cool. And I think being a northern suburbs person, I'd say to you, Whiteman's Park. Tick. It's the largest area set aside for recreation in maybe south. It's huge and it's closer. But it's Kings Park's good, but do Whiteman's as well. So there we go. Moving through faith and prayer. How's God met your needs and your faith and your journey of transition? This has been 2 years of something. Just don't share a little bit about that.
I'll take it. I think for us it has really been a faith walk. You don't know. Let me put this away, Daddy. You don't know what it's like to have faith in God until you have to. And the moment where you're selling everything that you have, went from luxury of having everything that, just we're used to it, we feel comfortable, not that we had a lavish lifestyle or anything like that, but just having the things that you're accustomed to and, I got to sell that. And we have to trust God to not only provide for everything that we need on a place we've never really been, other than for a week to spend some time and scout out, to have the faith to saying, God, you're going to provide every need. It really does put your faith level in going, there's some flesh here. There's some unbelief in my heart. There's some complaining. There's some whining in my heart that, Lord, you need to deal with right now. There's some me still in there that I haven't surrendered to you yet. And so we've really come to a place of, we have faith. And then we come to a place of, I need to really work out my own salvation with fear and trembling before the Lord. And I need to really resubmit to the Lord in new ways that I didn't realize I would have to. And so it really is a faith walk, but it's been the most exciting faith walk. To understand where you say you have faith, but you come to the end of yourself and realize, I need to trust God more. And I need to trust God more. And I think so many times we say we have faith, yet we don't really trust in God truly because we're used to our routine. We're used to what we have in our lives. We're used to the people around us. And not those things, those are wrong. Those aren't bad things. But when God really does call you out of those things and says, will you lay that down? Will you put those on the altar and will you sacrifice? Will you lay those down and say, trust me all over again? For us, that's been a new level of faith that maybe we really discovered in the past 2 years, where we've seen God's faithfulness time and time again, and we've seen him be faithful to his word. God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should repent. Has he not said, and will he not do? We've come to the realization that when God says something, he means it. And sometimes we don't believe that. We're like, that promise of God, that's for someone else. But no, those are for us. But it takes us to come to that place of faith and say, God, I'm going to take you at your word. And I'm going to trust that, and I'm going to believe that. And that's been our faith walk is, did God say this? And if he did, how much is he actually going to do? And when you realize, I can't do it on my own, there's this new level of understanding of how big and wonderful and great our God is and how he wants to provide for us.
You sort of covered my next thought. Is there a verse or a comment? But maybe that verse you had, or have you got another verse that you hung on to as an anchoring thing in that 2 years that God has called us? Is Is there something that held you tight to God's promise?
I think the one I kept coming back to is, and my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches and glory. And I think I always came back to that when we talk about it, because a lot of times it's God will provide based on my ability and based on how well I can do and how well I can work. And you could sort of get caught up into, yeah, God will bless me, but what do I got to do? I don't have to add a thing for God to provide for me. I just need to follow him, and I need to trust in him. And it says that he'll supply it out of his riches and glory, not my good work, not my best of my abilities. No. God shall supply all my needs according to his riches and glory. And so we've always come back to that, is that God provides, and it's not based on our ability. It's not based on how good we are or how good looking we are. Some of us probably are more blessed in those areas than... It's okay, I admit she's the good-looking one in this relationship. But it's coming back to it's his riches and glory that provide for us, not my works, not my ability. And so through this process, it's reminded us that we're totally submitted and dependent on him.
That's good. So see, you're at the end of a season and a journey and a faith step, and you've gone out and you've just gone, we're landing on the moon. And they're here in WA, but it was also the beginning. This is the beginning of your missions trip, your mission field, your mission journey, and you've landed here with us at this point. Just want to ask you, is there anything that we can do as a church where we can be praying, supporting for your family right now? And not just the church. Let's take this as the Foursquare family in WA, okay? Because these guys are missionaries here for Foursquare. And we're hoping they'll get into the country. We're hoping they'll be able to get into some of our other churches, and especially focusing on young people, children. And I'm loving the idea of Jesus Disciples, which is a fabulous program which gives us huge opportunity to get outside of the walls. Anyway, back to the question. Is there anything that we can be praying for you guys in support of your family right now?
I think right now specifically is praying for accommodations, affordable, that we can find something that fits within our budget, that we can find a vehicle, that runs.
Reliable.
That fits 7 people, without having to, strap someone to a luggage cart or something. Telling the older ones to hold on tight, we'll get there soon. Probably not going to be the best. And then also just we're so blessed that it's funny because we talked about how a week ago we didn't know if we were coming because of just some of the things behind the scenes working with FMI, and we actually got a special provision through FMI to come without being fully funded. And so we were still in need to fundraise and raise our funds back through the States. And so we're just praying and believing that those funds will align themselves as we take a step of faith. One of our coaches, the coaching point has been, and something I just read this week, was when the people of God had left Egypt, gone through their 40 years of wandering, and as they're getting ready to go, the priests pick up the Ark of the Covenant, and they step foot into the river, and that's when they see the river hold up back. And I feel that's been, our coach shared that with us. He said it was a word for us. And I feel that is what we're going through now, is we didn't wait, to see the sea parted for us to come over here to West Australia. Is we had to step foot onto the land. We had to get our feet wet here into Perth, here into West Australia, and we're believing to see that the rest of those funds be added to us. And we know God is faithful. God is a faithful God, so we're not worried about that. But we had to get our feet wet. And so we're just believing that those provisions come for, to make sure that we're not, having to go back on a plane next week. Not that's going to happen, but just the provisions of what we need financially for our family. But the biggest thing is accommodations, because they didn't let us bring all our luggage. They didn't let us bring the couch. They didn't let us bring the car. So not only do we need accommodations, but we have to furnish it. You have to have a refrigerator. You have to have a couch and a bed. I mean, I guess you don't. We could really wing it and live off the land, but it'd be nice to have a refrigerator and, to have a couch. And so we have to do all of those things that you don't think of. It's just, when you move to as many of you probably have moved to a different country. I know Dave is sharing us his experiences. They only brought 4 suitcases when they moved. Can you believe that?
30 years ago, no children. I cannot even I can't even fathom trying to shift with 5 children.
We had 15 pieces of luggage along with car seats and everything else, Yeah. We have a picture. We look like a train, of all of our kids pushing luggage carts as we went through the airport in Los Angeles, Every child had something to push. It's like, I don't care that you're 1-year-old and you can't walk. Push something, son. You know what? Stop being lazy and sitting there. Get up and push something. But, the big prayer points is accommodations, vehicle, and then just finishing our fundraising so that we can stay here for the long haul. We want to be here for the next 2, 5, 10, 20 years. And we want to start that right by seeking the Lord and focusing on what he wants and not having to be worried about everything else. Yeah.
Just to put into perspective, we had originally thought we had the amount of funds that we were supposed to have. We had everything set out. We had already talked to FMI. We were ready. And then they come back to us, a week before we were supposed to leave and said, wait, don't book the plane tickets yet. We've just gone over your whole budget, and we think that you actually need to increase quite a bit. I won't tell you the amount because, it's more than what we were, excited to deal with. But so our hearts are, if God can supply our original need, he can supply beyond that. So
that's good. Yeah. That's good. Well, I'm just going to wrap this up, and I just want to thank you for coming at just 3 days. Still getting time. They're getting up at 4:00 in the morning. Do we have a question? We do. We have a question. We'll just say it and I'll repeat it for the microphone.
I was just thinking, when you're looking for a car, you might find it hard to find one with a steering wheel on the left-hand side.
So,
this weird thing is we drive on the right side of the road.
Yeah, and we drive on the wrong side.
And you drive on the wrong side of the road here.
So the question from the audience is, make sure when you're looking for a car, you can buy one with a left-hand steering wheel.
That is,
Not quite.
it was that point when we came here 2 years ago, and Dave and Eileen actually loaned us their car. Driving on the left side of the road wasn't hard. It was where the steering wheel was. That was the hardest part, because I kept going to hit the turn signal, and the windshield wipers kept going on, and I was like, these are in the wrong spots.
I love it. Any other questions? Yeah, that's great. So we'll wrap up. We have another question? No? Once we sort of got through the formal part, I just want to thank Foursquare WA. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you who want to be able to sponsor, help them out, share them, get in touch with the office. There'll be a bank account that money can go into that you can help. I know they didn't expect this, but it's not. It's about family now, and how do we help each other? And down the track, Anne-Marie will send out a request or a list of things. So once we have a house, we'll send through. If anyone in WA has got stuff, we're a big family. And what I love about Foursquare is that I can go anywhere in the world. Liam went to France, and he rocked up to a Foursquare church there. It was filthy wet. The first thing they did was come and took his clothes and put them on the heater and gave him some warm things and treated him like family. And I think that's Foursquare anywhere globally, and we're not an exception. So thank you all, and looking forward to support with the Bowles family. And you guys can look forward to them coming and visiting your church or helping with some outreaches or whatever God's called. This journey starts at 2 years, and God knows how long it'll be. So we're excited. Thank you all. Bless you. Now, for the church, I want us to pray for them. So we'll come down here and everyone just come around and just pray. Yeah. Cool? And then we'll wrap the service. Do we want what? Yes, no, whatever. If the kids want to come for prayer, but it's just we'll just come down here. So nobody has to come on stage, and we'll just close in praying for the family, what God's got, purpose, protection, finances, all of those things. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Chance to stretch your legs. Up, wicked. Whew. Yeah. 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 Shove you in the middle.